How did the ancient Greeks spark a movement that eventually shook the entire world? Where are we headed? Do we have any hope? If you haven't caught on yet, I'm talking about the story of artificial intelligence, which has now taken the entire tech world by storm. And this begs the question, how did we get here? Although the term artificial intelligence was coined in 1956, the idea that the human mind could be created and copied can be traced back all the way to ancient Greece. The Greeks came up with stories of mechanical men, or automata, that performed various tasks throughout Olympus. In one myth, Hephaestus, the Greek god of forges, created golden maidens that possessed human consciousness as assistants in his workshops. This idea didn't just stop with the Greeks. After humans invented formal logic, a Spanish philosopher named Ramon Llull developed what he called logic machines in an effort to produce knowledge through mechanized logical operations. It was kind of wishful, and even though his machines failed miserably, Llull's work helped to perpetuate the idea that human thought can be mechanized. Gottfried Leibniz, who co-founded calculus, built on top of Llull's ideas, describing a universal language of reasoning that could reduce argumentation to mere calculation. Many mathematicians, including Charles Babbage, Ada Lovelace, and Leibniz himself, designed calculating machines to perform mathematical operations. Fast forward several decades, and the Turing machine was conceptualized, a simple device reading and writing symbols on an infinite tape, one step at a time, following a fixed set of rules in order to carry out algorithms, step-by-step processes for mathematical reasoning and problem solving. Turing realized that this can be accomplished through a binary number system, turning parts on and off like 1 and 0. This was huge, and it became one of the most critical turning points for human civilization. The year is 1945, and the world's first general-purpose computer was constructed. Now, I say constructed because this thing was the size of the entire room. It could do lots of math very fast, which may seem kind of lame right now, but back then, it was mind-blowing. With new neurology research showing that the brain uses electrical signals, the dream of creating a machine with human intelligence started to pick up a lot more traction. Alan Turing, the father of computer science, was recorded to be one of the first people to perform serious research on this, and hence created the widely acclaimed Turing test in his 1950 paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence. Just a year after, two graduate students named Marvin Minsky and Dean Edmonds built the stochastic neural-analog reinforcement calculator, a device that could learn to solve mazes. Then, in 1956, the term artificial intelligence was coined by researcher John McCarthy during a summer workshop in Dartmouth University. This workshop was later considered as the birth of modern AI. With a new and flashy name, AI started to pick up quickly. In 1958, a single-layer neural network called the perceptron was introduced by a computer scientist named Frank Rosenblatt. In 1964, a student named David Bobrow created an AI program called Student that could solve high school algebra word problems. In 1966, MIT professor Joseph Weizenbaum finished the world's first chatbot, Eliza. Innovations like these caused computer scientists at the time to become extremely optimistic. However, some of their claims were a little bit far-fetched. In 1957, computer scientists H.A. Simon and Alan Newell predicted that within 10 years, a digital computer would discover and prove an important new mathematical theorem. In 1965, H.A. Simon came out again and predicted that machines will be capable within 20 years of doing any work a man can do. In 1970, Marvin Minsky told interviewers, from 3 to 8 years, we will have a machine with the general intelligence of an average human being. His words will be published in the Life magazine soon after. For a time, people believed them, and expectations on what AI could do started to skyrocket, resulting in a lot of funding being poured into these projects, until the AI winter. There were several problems that researchers underestimated when developing AI. The biggest one was that the limited computing power at the time was too slow to accomplish anything useful. Even the best programs could only complete dumbed-down versions of the problems they were designed to solve. At a certain point, people started to realize that AI couldn't exactly deliver on the promises that it had made, especially this guy, who basically stated that AI is bad at being dumb. Funding was cut, and many researchers were stuck arguing ethics and philosophy. This same guy again even blamed his colleagues for it. These were dark times indeed, but even then, countless researchers still continued to put time and effort into expanding the capabilities of AI. Eventually, they found the Ark of the Covenant, the treasures of Atlantis, the savior of their dream. Expert systems. Built throughout the 1970s, expert systems were computers that could emulate the decision-making of human experts. By the 1980s, many corporations started to adopt them in order to reduce labor costs. Funding was reignited, and expert systems were widely regarded as the future of AI. Throughout this period, there were several new innovations in neural networks, soft computing, and reinforcement learning. However, AI still couldn't get better at being dumb. What made things worse was that by the late 1980s, many companies that used AI technology went bankrupt. This sent businessmen into a scare, and money was once again a scarce resource. Cue in the second AI winter. Again, there were several reasons that AI lost its foothold in the technological sphere. One was that Apple's new Macintosh PCs proved to be faster and much cheaper than the big expert systems. Another reason was that even when AI was useful, people didn't care to give it any credit. AI was still evolving and being implemented in many facets of the world, but the usage of the term artificial intelligence brought out a certain disgust among people, especially the people who had money. In fact, it got so bad that many researchers abandoned the term AI in order to acquire more funding for their projects. One such project was the intelligent agent, which uses AI to solve very specific problems. This form of AI became more widely accepted during the 1990s, mainly because it managed to completely sidestep all of the nitpicky philosophical debates on what machine intelligence is and if it can ever truly replace human thought and yada 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 yada. The rise of intelligent agents would soon pave the way for something far greater. But first, check that out! The world chess champion just lost to a computer? On May 11th, 1997, Deep Blue became the first computer to beat reigning world chess champion Garry Kasparov. Most of its success came from the fact that computing power had grown exponentially, doubling every 2 years in accordance with Moore's not really a law. Slowly but surely, the computing barriers that once marred AI research were being overcome. Throughout the early 21st century, new advancements in computing, big data, and the internet pushed AI to horizons that had never been met before. This once again sparked hype around AI, but this time, the hype stayed. Money was being poured into deep learning and a new and upcoming field called artificial general intelligence, which was led by these guys. In 2010, they founded DeepMind to research and develop AGI models before selling it to Google under the condition that it would remain ethical. Like I care, Google said at the first and last ethics meeting. Attending the meeting was a very angry man named Elon Musk. Furious with what had happened, Musk joined forces with Sam Altman to create OpenAI, a non-profit AI company to benefit humanity as a whole. How did that turn out? I hate you guys! Goodbye! Well, we tried. OpenAI later joined forces with Microsoft and launched a large language model called GPT-3 in 2020. This marked the start of a new AI era. Investment into AI grew exponentially, and in 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT for public use. ChatGPT's success prompted Google to rapidly develop a similar AI chatbot called Google Bard, later rebranded as Gemini. The sudden rise in AGI caused both concern and optimism. In an open letter, notable figures like Elon Musk and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak called for a pause in AI development, citing risks to humanity. AI companies completely ignored the letter and continued their work. So far, nothing bad has happened yet, and everyone lived happily ever after. Right, guys? Guys? Hello? Are you there? Why is no one responding? Hello?